Hello, Julie here and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm sharing a quick layout that I created. I've got 5 photos on this page and I've basically used strips of paper, so you don't need a lot of paper. So a quick layout with lots of photos. This page is for you. I've chosen Kaisercraft papers for this layout. For my background, I'm using one from the Belle collection called Angel. That's a creamy, motley sort of pattern paper. Then all of the other pattern papers come from the Time Machine collection. One that I'm using is called Ironclad. I'm using Mechanism and Gadget. So I start cutting up my pattern papers. I've got a bit of an idea what I want on this layout, but I haven't got any measurements or exactly how it's going to come together set in my mind yet. So I'm just going to cut some strips and go from there. So I cut a piece of Ironclad 2 inches by 12 inches. I just leave all of them at 12 inches until I decide what length I want them to be. So I cut Ironclad 2 by 12, Mechanism 1 1/4 by 12, then another piece of Ironclad that's 1 inches by 12, then another piece of Mechanism that is 1 1/4 by, well, this is just a scrap, so it's just under 10 inches, and then a piece of the Gadget 1 1/2 by 12. Now, as I said, I'm just cutting these at random lengths and all at the same length or whatever length they happen to be in the case of that scrap. And then I'm going to play around with them how I think I want them to sit on my page and go from there. Once I had my strips all cut, I decided I wanted to have a bit more interest to them, so I am going to tear both sides of all of those strips of paper. I'm tearing it towards myself so that I'm getting that white edge showing on each piece. You will only end up seeing a small amount of this because each one's going to overlap one side of it, and then I'm going to put my photos on top, so you don't really see a lot of it, but I think it just adds that little bit of interest to the bits that you can see. Once I've torn all of my edges, I'm going to use my black Versacolor ink cube and ink all of the edges as well. This helps each pattern paper to stand out from the one it's sitting on top of or behind, whatever. Just makes each paper a bit more visible. I tore each strip to a different length so that they were a bit staggered top and bottom as I laid them out, and now that my papers are ready, I'm going to use my art glitter glue to layer one pattern on top of the other and work my way across. So I'm starting from the right hand edge of my torn paper section and working my way across to the left. This little section turns out to be approximately 4 inches wide. That just happened. I didn't plan it that way. That's the way it happened, so that's what I went with. I probably could have made it a bit wider in hindsight, but I'm happy with it like it is. I added scrap chipboard to the back of my panel and then attached that to my background page using my art glitter glue. So I tried to decide what colour mats I'm going to use on my photos, so I'm just trying a couple of these scraps that I've got left over to see whether I'd go for a light background or a dark matte background. I decided to go for a dark and I matted my photos on black cardstock. I've only given them a very fine border, so I think I've only made it 1/8 of an inch bigger than the actual photo, so I've only got 1/16 of an inch of black all the way around my photo. So I've decided on the placement for my photos here, and before I attach them to my layout, I'm going to attach a bit of scrap chipboard to the back of each one of those photos and then attach it to the scrapbooking page. I didn't attach the giraffe photo because I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with that one as yet. So I got myself so involved with getting these strips sorted and my photos organised that I forgot that I wanted to do something on the background of the layout. So I've made a little bit of a cover, or whatever you like to call it, for my photos and my pattern paper panel. And I'm going to now use some Cutterbee Spritzing inks to make some splatters in the background. The turquoisey coloured one is called Mint and the black one is called Black Night. So I'm putting splatters of those on, but I'm not going overboard. I didn't want too many on there. A little more detail for the background. I'm going to use this Dylusions stamp. It's called Anatomy of a Page. I'm just going to use the 3 circles, and I'm going to use some StazOn Jet Black Ink to just stamp that just a few times around my page. To embellish my layout, I created a couple of tags. I used the Ironclad and made my tags 2.5 inches wide, and I think they're only about 3 inches long, but that doesn't matter because I'm going to tuck them in under. And where I planned on putting that top one covered up most of my stamping, so I just covered my photos up again and just stamped a bit more down there. And I also added a bit more down to the giraffe photo. You can see that I've added a piece of pattern paper there. I don't know if I've added it yet or not, but it's actually the branding strip and a piece of the Ironclad, and I'm using the branding strip, back of the branding strip. I've torn down the edge of that, inked the edge of it, and I'm going to attach that to my photo, between the photo and the tag. So I'm adding a little bit more stamping down the bottom there of my giraffe, where my giraffe photo will go as well. I have got this huge ball of black crochet cotton, and I'm going to add that to my tags. I have used my crocodile and added some black eyelets to the tags as well. So now that I've got the tags completed, I'm going to use my art glitter glue and attach those to my layout. The page didn't look finished to me, so I decided to add some strips down each side, not the top and bottom, just the 2 sides. So I'm trimming it down so that my cream background is 11 inches wide, so it's going to be 11 inches wide by 12 inches tall. Then I'm going to cut 2 strips of the Ironclad and attach those to the to the left and the right hand edges of my layout, so that about 1/2 inch of the Ironclad shows out on each edge, and that brings my page back to 12 inches by 12 inches. I'd also like to remind you that if you're not already a subscriber, I'd love it if you would subscribe to my channel. I am so thankful for all the people that are subscribed to my channel, and all of the comments that you leave. I love to read your comments. I answer all comments, and yeah, I really appreciate you subscribing to my channel and watching my videos. For the title, I'm going to use my Kaisercraft DD700 alphabet uppercase and the mechanism pattern paper. I'll cut the letters out to say Minato Zoo, and then I will attach that to my layout. I'll use my reverse tweezers. I find these invaluable when I am trying to attach small items like alphas, and the fine point on the art glitter glue bottle is fantastic for this as well. So that I can get my title in some sort of a semblance of a straight line, I'm using my T ruler for this. Normally I would ink around the edge of all of these letters, but I forgot to do it. Then I took my fountain pen and drew a faux stitch border just down the left and right edges of my cream cardstock. I just felt that this finished it off, and so yes, that's my layout for today. Once again, thank you for being here with me today. I really appreciate you watching my videos. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope you can join me for my next video.